Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswam vyasam tato jayam mudiraye nashtaprayesho abhadresho nityam bhagata sevaya bhagavati uttama shlokir bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Dear devotees, you are welcome for continuity of our Bhakti Vedanta study.
Recording in progress.
10th canto of Srimad Bhagvatam, we are discussing first chapter, which is actually appearance of Lord Krishna. And the section which we are starting is verse number 27 to 36. And in this section, Kansa tries to kill Devaki. So, as we have discussed yesterday, the eagerness of Parikshat Maharaj to hear Krishna Katha, and he gave certain reasons why he wanted to hear Krishna Katha. What are the benefits of hearing Krishna Katha? Who is eligible and relish Krishna Katha, who is not eligible and can never hear Krishna Katha. And then Sukdev Goswami started narrating the history that because the earth was overburdened with the demonic people, and she approached Brahma, and Brahma requested Lord Shiva and all the demigods, and they went to the shore of Milk Ocean, and where they worshipped Supreme Lord, who is generally Kshirodakshai Vishnu, with Purusha Shukta. Usually Purusha Shukta is for Garbhodakshai Vishnu, because Purusha Shukta is Sahasra Purukha. Sahasra means like a Virat Roop, having thousands of arms and all that. That's called Purusha Shukta, and it is in the Vedas. And Lord was pleased with Brahma's and all the demigods' prayers, but nobody heard Lord, only Brahma's. In Brahma's heart, Lord revealed his intention in 4 verses, that yes, I know the miserable condition of Bhumi Devi, Prithvi or earth, and I myself appear as son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But you all demigods, tell them that they along with their wives appear for my pleasure and pleasure of Radharani. And in this way, Brahma told this message of Supreme Lord to all the demigods, and then they left back to their own abode. And after that, at the marriage of Vasudev with Devaki, and Kansa wanted to go along with to see of her sister, and then some celestial sound appeared and told that the 8th son of not 8th son, but 8th pregnancy of Devaki is going to be your death. And then Kansa, who appeared to be very loving brother, his all brotherly sentiment disappeared because he was demon by nature, and he left the reins of the horses from the left hand and catch hold the hairs of the Devaki, and from right hand he gave up the whip and he took the sword and he wanted to kill Devaki. Now we are continuing further. Shurasena yadopatihi mathuram avasam purim mathuram chosorasenascha vishyahan bubhuje pura. So formerly Sursen is father of Vasudev. Oh no, sorry, Sursen. Yeah, Sursen. Sursen is father of Vasudeva, chief of the Yadu dynasty, had gone to live in the city of Mathura. There he enjoyed places known as Mathura and Sursen. Actually, from Mathura towards Agra, which was olden days called Agarban, on the bank of Mother Jamuna river, there is a town called Bateshwar. That Bateshwar was the actually ruling place of Maharaj Sursen. They used to live there, and that was in that area that is called Sursen, place of Sursen. So Vasudeva Grahe Janme Mathuram. Now begins the description of Krishna's appearance in Vasudeva's house in Mathura. First, the suitable place of his birth is described. Now Chakravartipad says, he is speaking that in this verse, first the place is selected where Krishna is going to appear. In Laghu Vaishno Toshani, in order to explain that Krishna would appear in Mathura, the reason is first given in 2 verses. The place is called Mathura because it stimulates the whole universe with spiritual knowledge. Mathura means mathyate. Mathyate means churning. Where there is always a churning of knowledge, this place is called Mathura. So place is called Mathura because it stimulates the whole universe with spiritual knowledge. And because in Mathura the sense of knowledge is extracted, mathyate. This is the meaning of Mathura. And Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it is said, the word va in this verse means all other possibilities. What are the other possibilities? Mathura stimulates the world with the knowledge of Brahma and Bhakti Yoga. Because of Mathura, the world becomes filled with Gyanis and Bhaktas. The Gyaan and Bhakti, they become topmost because of the presence of Krishna. All other things are destroyed there. Mathura in the Upanishad refers to the district of Mathura. The city of Mathura is situated like the center of the lotus. Sursen enjoyed the place related to Mathura region in the south and areas well known as Sursen. He did this long ago. This is mentioned in the 9th canto. So this is what the place of Sursen. Now the next verse number 828. Rajdhani tata sabhut sarva yadava bhujam Mathura Bhagavan Yatra Nityam Sanito Hari. So in Mathura always Lord Hari resides. Since that time, the city of Mathura has been capital of all kings of Yadu dynasty. Sarva Yadav Bhujam Rajdhani Adhbhut. The city, the district of Mathura are very intimately connected with Krishna. For Lord Krishna lives there eternally. Yatra Bhagavan Hari Nityam Sanihitaha. So, this is the description of Mathura. Srila Prabhupada writes, it is understood that Mathura city is transcendental abode of Lord Krishna. It is not an ordinary material city, for it is eternally connected with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Originally, this Mathura city was established in one time during Treta Yuga by the brother of Lord Ramachandra, Shatrughan. After killing Lavanashur, he established Mathura city. And that whole pastime is in Madhuban, which is one next to the Mathura. Vrindavan is within the jurisdiction of Mathura, and it is still continue to exist. Because Mathura and Vrindavan are intimately connected with Krishna eternally, it is said that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavan parityaje padam ekam na gacchati. At present, the place known as Vrindavan is in the district of Mathura, continues its position as transcendental place. Certainly, anyone who goes there becomes transcendently purified. Navadip Dham is also intimately connected with Virjabhumi. Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Shri Goda Mandala Bhumi, Yeba Jane Chinta Mani, Tara hai Braja Bhunivasa. Virjabhumi referred to Mathura, Vrindavan, and Gauda Mandal Bhumi includes Navadip. These two places are non-different. Therefore, anyone living in Navadip Dham, knowing Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the same personality, lives in Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan. These are the some. Number one, at the present, the place known as Vrindavan in district Mathura continue its position as transcendental place. And this is non-different than Navadip. Number two, therefore anyone lives in Navadip Dham, knowing Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the same, personally lives in Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan. 3. The Lord has made it convenient for the conditioned soul to live in Mathura, Vrindavan and Navadip, and thus directly connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 4. Simply by living in these places, one can immediately come in contact with the Lord. Number 5. There are many devotees who vow never to leave Vrindavan and Mathura. This is undoubtedly a good vow. But if one leaves Vrindavan, Mathura or Navadip Dham for the service of the Lord, he is not disconnected from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada himself left both Navadip and Vrindavan, but is never disconnected from them, because he said Vrindavan is consciousness. Wherever you are, if you are in a Vrindavan consciousness means how to please Krishna, then you are in Vrindavan. At any rate, we must understand the transcendental importance of Mathura, Vrindavan and Navadip Dham. 6. Anyone who executes devotional service in these places certainly goes back home, back to Godhead, after giving up this body. Thus the word Mathura, Bhagavan, Yatra, Nitya, Sanhito, Hari are practically important. And 7. A devotee should fully utilize the instruction to the best of his ability. Whenever the Supreme Lord personally appears, he appears in Mathura because of his intimate connection with that place. Therefore, although Mathura and Vrindavan are situated on the planet Earth, they are transcendental abode of Lord. Nitya Sanhito Hari. All perfect Krishna is eternally present in his spiritual form in Mathura, in a aprakat leela or unmanifest pastime in the material world. It is there that Krishna appears and becomes visible to the people of the world. Krishna does not descend from Vaikuntha, but when Krishna appears, his expansion from Vaikuntha and Swetdeep unite with him. It's very interesting. Krishna is not coming from Vaikuntha, but when Krishna comes from Golok, then the portion from Vaikuntha, Vasudeva Krishna, four-handed, and from Swetdeep, that is also Kshirodakshai Vishnu, they all come and unite Krishna. After the pastime are over, they return to their respective abode. That they descend from Vaikuntha and later return there is mentioned in Srimad Bhagvatam. Paravaresho Mahad Ansa Yukto 3:2-15. Verse number 29. Some time ago, Vasudeva, who belonged to the demigod family or to the Sur dynasty. The Sur, generally Sura is called demigod. So Sura is not demigod family actually, but it's a Sura and Asur. Sur means demigod. Married Devaki. After the marriage, Devak is a brother of Ugarsen. He mounted his chariot to return home with his newly married wife, Devaki. Vasudev mounted the chariot with his newly married wife Surya Devaki and go to his house Prayayana the day after the marriage. And Sanatana Goswami writes, events are now told leading up to Krishna's birth and present. The word to introduce a new subject. Mathura is long time ago. In Mathura, long time ago, Vasudev married Devaki. After the marriage, to go to his house, he mounted his chariot. So, now to means next topic is started. Verse 30. Kansa, the son of King Ugarsen. Ugarsen Sutta Kansa. Now, Ugarsen is a king of Mathura. He married to Padmavati, his wife from Vidarbha Desh. And the son Kans is actually Kal Nemi demon, who was killed by a lord during the churning of the milk ocean in Deva Asur Sangram, when there was a fight between the demigods and the demons. But Shukracharya revived him. And then he appeared again as a son of Ugarsen. And in one of these a description in Garga Santa, you'll get the whole description about Ugarsen and Kansa. In order to please his sister Devaki on the occasion of her marriage, Swasuhu Priya Chikirshaya, Swasuhu or Bhagni, which means sister, took the charge of the reins of the horses and became the chariot driver. Rasmin Hayanam, Rasnim means ropes, Hayanam means horses, Jagra means hold. He was surrounded by hundreds of golden chariots. Raukami Ratha Satai Virtaha. He was surrounded by those chariots. Sometimes Swasu, sometimes Bhagni. Bhagni means sister, Swasu means sister also. Verse number 30. So this is the Garga Santa, which is a very detailed description about this whole episode. You can relish this at your time when you get. There's a quite lengthy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This whole description of how the grandson, which are the 6 children of going to be Devaki's children, was Hiranyakashipu's grandchildren. They were worshipping somebody other than Hiranyakashipu, so he cursed them to be killed by their father, and they are actually son of Kalnemi, so they will be killed by Kalnemi. That's the whole description in this portion about all the intrinsic pastimes of appearance of Kansa and relation of the 6 first babies born of Vasudeva and Devaki. Who were they, how they are born. 31 and 32. Chato Shatam Pari Brahm. This is about the dowry given to the Devaki. Devaki's father, King Devak, who was brother of Ugarsen, was very much affectionate to his daughter. Therefore, while she and her husband were leaving home, he gave her a dowry of 400 elephants, nicely decorated with golden garlands. He also gave 10,000 horses, 1,800 chariots, 200 very beautiful young maid servants, fully decorated with ornaments. And Prabhupada gives here the right of a daughter to have a dowry. The system of giving dowry to one's daughter has existed in Vedic civilization for a very long time. Even today, following the same system, father who has money will give his daughter an opulent dowry. A daughter would never inherit the property of her father, and therefore an affectionate father, during the marriage of his daughter, would give her as much as possible. Dowry, therefore, is never illegal according to the Vedic system. Here, of course, the gift offered to as a dowry by Devak to Devaki was not ordinary, because Devak was a king. So, this is some customs Prabhupada writes. Even in the ordinary man, especially in high class, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, is supposed to give his daughter a liberal dowry. This is Prabhupada's description and purport about the culture, Vedic culture. And Laghu Vaishno Toshani writes, the girls which are given as a maid servant to Devaki were Kaishore age, decorated with the best cloth and ornaments. The young girls were in the palanquin. And this verse number 33. O beloved son Maharaj Parikshit, O beloved son Tat, there must be word Tat. Tat means beloved younger son. It also means a student disciple of a guru. Guru calls his disciple Tat. So it's a word of affection. When the bride and bridegroom were ready to start, conch shell, bugles, drums, and kettle drums all vibrated in concert for their auspicious departure. Sumangalam. Samam means at the same time. Or they all sounded with the same strength. So the instruments. And the Sukdev addressed Parikshit with affection, Tat. Having developed paternal feeling at seeing Parikshit's joy from appearance of Lord, Tat means father or dear junior. 34. While Kansa, controlling the reins of the horses, was driving the chariot along the way, an unembodied voice addressed him. You foolish rascal, the eighth child of the woman you are carrying will kill you. This is the prophecy in the sky without a person. So it's called Akashvani. Akash means from the sky. A sharir vak. Here it is called a sharir vak. A means no, sharir means body, vak means language. Language is spoken, but there was no person there. Prabhupada writes, O man spoke of Ashtamo Garbha. Ashtama means eighth. Reference to the eighth pregnancy. But did not clearly say whether the child was to be a son or a daughter. Even if Kansa were to see that the eighth child of Devaki was daughter, he should have no doubt that the eighth child was to kill him. According to the Vishwakosh dictionary, the word Garbha means embryo. It also means Adhbhut means newly born child. Adhbhut means child. So Kansa was affectionate towards his sister, and therefore he had become the chariot driver to carry her and his brother-in-law to their home. The demigods, however, did not want Kansa to be affectionate towards Devaki, and therefore, from an unseen position, they encouraged Kansa to offend her. Moreover, the 6 sons of Marichi had been cursed to take birth from the womb of Devaki. They were cursed by Brahma. 6 sons of Marichi were cursed by Brahma when they laughed on Brahma, and therefore he cursed them to become demon. And then they appear at the grandson of Hiranyakashipu, and then Hiranyakashipu cursed them to be killed by their father. So this is whole story is in Garga Santa. You can sometime on your leisure read that which is in this file. So comes to offend her. Moreover, the sixth son of Marichi had been cursed to take birth from the womb of Devaki, and upon being killed by Kansa, they would be delivered. When Devaki understood that Kansa would be killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who would appear from the womb, her womb, she felt great joy. So this message from the sky was a joy for Devaki. The word vahase means carrier, like a loading truck. That's called vahan in Hindi. So vahase is also significant because it indicates that the ominous vibration condemned Kansa for acting just like a beast of burden by carrying his enemy's mother. So Chakravarti Pad writes, Asarira Vak. While Kansa held the reins of the horse in his hand, an unseen voice. You cannot see person, but there is a voice. The eighth offspring of woman you are carrying will kill you. Out of fear, Krishna might not kill Kansa. Out of fear that Krishna might not kill Kansa because of his extreme affection for Devaki. Now, why the demigods were worried? Because Krishna might not kill Kansa, because Kansa is very affectionate to Devaki. The demigod delivered this message from his sky in order to arouse Kansa's anger towards Devaki. Vasudeva had heard from his mother that when he was born, there were sounds of drums announcing the future birth of an incarnation of Lord. Vasudeva told this to Devaki. Thus, hearing the voice from his sky, Devaki became blissful, for she understood that Lord would appear in her womb. Also, through the message, it was understood that the sixth son of Marichi would be delivered from their curse after being killed by Kansa. This story is in a Dwarka Leela of Krishna. Garbho means pregnancy. Putra means son. All right, next verse. Verse number. Oh, Harivansh is too lengthy commentary on this section in Harivansh Purana.
While you're scrolling down, is it okay to ask a couple of questions?
You want to have a question? Okay, welcome.
Yeah. First question is text 33. Prabhupada is translating and he's saying, "Oh, beloved son, Maharaj Parikshit." So Sukadeva Goswami is referring to Maharaj Parikshit as, "Oh, beloved son."
Right.
Just seems a little bit out of place. Maharaj Parikshit being referred to as son by Sukadeva Goswami.
What it means actually, when a spiritual master sees the sincere disciple, then he call him Tat, which means my dear son. So like for a spiritual master, the disciple is like a son. So generally the disciple and son are same. But sometimes the disciple is son. But sometimes every disciple is considered son. Prabhupada used to call my sons and daughters. To all his disciples, he used to call my son and daughters. So this is the position of a spiritual master, for out of affection call his disciple as a son. And in this case we have seen, because Parikshit was very jubilant, because Krishna's appearance he is going to hear Krishna's appearance. So to see disciple happy, Sukdev has an affection of Vatsalya Bhav, and he called him Tat. So okay, Param Karuna?
Yes, thank you, Boo.
Anybody else?
Secondly,
yes.
Secondly, in the purport, Prabhupada is pointing out that Devaki understood that Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear from her and kill Kamsa. How did Devaki know?
Just we read the purport that Vasudev's mother told Vasudev that when he was born, there was drums resounded in the celestial planets, and he was told that he will be the father of a incarnation. And he related this story to the Devaki. Therefore, Devaki was aware that this celestial voice is speaking of somebody who is going to be incarnation. Yeah, this is Chakravarti Pad has made it more clear.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. You are from where, Param Karuna?
I'm from Bhaktivedanta Mana.
Oh, welcome. Okay. Bhakti Vedanta Minor ki jai. Anybody else has any question or comment? Okay, we are continuing. Verse number 35. Kamsa was a condemned personality in Bhoj dynasty because he was envious and sinful. Kans was condemned personality in the Bhoj dynasty. Saha Bhojanam Kul Panshana. Condemned. Kul means family and Panshan means condemned. Because he was envious and sinful. Khalha Papa. Therefore, upon hearing this omen from his sky, Iti Ukta, he caught hold of his sister's hair with his left hand and took up his sword with his right hand to sever her head from her body. Srila Prabhupada writes, Kans was driving the chariot and controlling the reins with his left hand, but as soon as he heard the omen that his sister's S child would kill him, he gave up the reins, caught hold of his sister's hairs. Actually, in the beginning, I told this whole story. And with his right hand, he took up the sword to kill her. Before, he had been so affectionate that he was acting as his sister's chariot driver. But as soon as he heard that his self-interest or his life was at risk, he forgot all affection for her and immediately became a great enemy. This is the nature of a demon. He is good as long as his interests are served. When there is any harm to his self-interest, then he will show his real colors. And Kans is showing his real colors. Aside from this, a king, a politician, or a woman cannot be trusted. Chankya Pandit said, Vishwaso na kuryat. Vishwaso na kartavya strishu rajkuleshu cha. The politicians, the woman, or a king should never be trusted because they can change their mind. Kula Panshana means who, Kula Panshans is one who, Chakravarti Pad writes, Kul Panshan is one who, who contaminate his family with sin, prepared to kill Devaki. And affection of materialistic people is filtering. This is the important line. Affection of materialistic people is filtering and easily transform into hate. They have no regard for religious principles. They are so shameless that even in the eyes of a common man, they can commit murder. This is what Kans was doing. Verse number 36. Wanting to pacify Kansa, who was so cruel and envious, wanting to pacify Kanstam Parishanta Vyam, who was so cruel and envious, Nirsangsam, which means cruel and envious, that he was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, Nirpatarapam, this is a shameless, Jugaspita Karmanam, a very abominable, dirty work. The great soul Vasudev, who was to be the father of Krishna, Vasudeva Mahabhaga, spoke to him in following words, Uvacha. Now, Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Krishna, is described here as Mahabhaga, a very upright and sober personality. Because although Kansa was ready to kill Vasudeva's wife, Vasudeva remained sober and unagitated. In the peaceful attitude, Vasudeva began to address Kansa by putting forward reasonable arguments. Vasudeva was a great personality because he knew how to pacify a cruel person and how to forgive even a bitterest enemy. One who is fortunate is never caught, even by the tigers or snakes. So these are the characteristics of Vasudeva. Mahabhaga, greatly fortunate, upon seeing that Kansa was ready to kill his wife, Vasudeva did not show anger because he was an ocean of good qualities, such as patience, gravity, forgiveness, and cleverness. The question may arise, how could a cruel person such as Kansa listen to Vasudeva's advice? Therefore, he is described as Mahabhaga. Even tiger and snake do not create obstacles when they encounter those possessed of good qualities. So now we are entering into today's, actually our topic. Verse number 37 to 45, Vasudeva tried to pacify Kansa. So this is the fourth section. Verse number 37, Sri Vasudeva Vacha. On here are the verses. Yes, somebody has a question?
Yes, before we begin the new section. Okay.
Yes.
Just in the purport of 35, Prabhupada is quoting Vishwasa Neva Kartavya Stri Suraja Kuleshu Cha. So, and Prabhupada is explaining that women cannot be trusted, politicians cannot be trusted, they can do anything abominable, and their minds can change at any time. So, Prabhu, just wanted to hear your thoughts, because the same can be said for men, just general materialistic men, materialistic women. So why specifically women are mentioned here?
This is what is called the moral codes given by Chanakya Pandit, who is a great minister of a recent time. So he has, from his observation, that politicians cannot be trusted because they have to actually satisfy everybody. They can say something, but they will not carry it out. Similarly, king also is a politician and diplomat, so you cannot trust him. He may change his statement. Similarly, particularly women as a class, they cannot hide anything in their heart because they are cursed by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So they will open all secrets, so you cannot trust them. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Kunti Devi asked Yudhishthira Maharaj to offer some oblation for Karna, he said, "Why should I do for Karna?" He said, "No, Karna is your brother." He said, "My God, my mother, why you have hidden this? I curse all the women not to keep anything secret, because otherwise there would not have been war. Karna was my brother." So it is a Yamaraj, it's a Yudhishthira Dharmaraj's curse for the woman that they cannot keep anything secret. So this is their nature. So would you tell them something that you cannot trust, because they can always open the secret. They cannot keep it. The Kekai was, Kekai has a confidential talk with her husband, Dasratha, that she saved her life and he gave the two boons. But why she told to the maid servant that my husband gave me boons? Because she could not keep a secret. And the result is the whole Ramayana. So this is their nature. This is their nature. It's nothing wrong. It's not to belittle woman, but it is their nature, because they are different by nature. Anything else? Anybody has to say something on this?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Babu.
Yes.
My question is there any scientific evidence towards this? That women reveal secrets, men don't? I mean, it's like, I don't know, like doesn't, is there some very scientific or a psychological study? I mean, of course, there are studies which say that women are more right brain oriented and men are left brain oriented. I mean, that seems to be there. It's a pretty consensus, like one of the difference. But is there anything which is more scientific, that women can't keep secrets but men can keep secrets and stuff like that?
Exactly. I have not done research. Chanakya Pandit has done research and he has given his statement. I am simply trying to explain from the scriptural background. But I mean, the other thing I am thinking is like, say, kingly order, the politician and woman, but I can say the woman who is living with the politicians, they are not trustworthy. Usually you see all the big political, dramas are in the king's house, where there is a question of, everything was among the queens. When there are 2-3 queens of a king, then always there are different scenario in all the pastime you will see. So that woman, generally speaking, because right now I am thinking, it says Raj Kuleshu and woman. So it can be connected to that, because mostly the kings have more than one wife, and always within the house there is always secrecy, diplomacy, politics, and nobody can trust anybody. So this woman you can put in that context, then it is very easy to understand. Not ordinary woman, but the Raj Kuleshu woman, politician's wife. Then it is more practical to me. Hey Ajay Nita, how you are here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
You invited me when you came to Punjab.
Huh?
Babuji, when you came to Punjab, at that time, you asked him to join your classes.
Okay, Ajay Nita is here. It's good. Welcome. You were in Vrindavan. I heard at Dwarka. You have a question? The hand is up.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. What is the question?
As we saw that celestial beings, they made the announcement that the 8th child is going to kill Kansa. So my question is, who are those celestial beings? Who are those demigods? And we do know that Kansa had control over all the demigods except Dharma, Vishnu and Mahesh, as is going to come later in the chapter. So he could have identified who that child is going to be, and what are the activities, what are the names, all those things, because of the demigods can predict the future. They can also predict about the personality and everything, what is going to do, and all those things. So the specific type of demigods that make such kind of announcement.
When they want to keep something secret, then only they use the word asarir vak, because they don't want to declare who said this. So ultimately speaking, this is Krishna himself inspiring any demigod to do this, and even they don't know what they are saying. Because ultimately the super soul as a Krishna within the heart of a demigod has inspired them to say this. Which demigod say this? This is secret because it says asarir vak. There was no body. So when even Sukadeva is not saying who said this, how can I say who said this? Huh?
Thank you for it. I just wanted to know because they are in different
Actually,
stories and
Actually, it is Krishna's. Krishna said like this, but he said through the mouth of somebody, and he was not seen because to keep it secret. Because Kansa was not an ordinary person either. Yeah, if he knew which demigod I said, he will first go and kill that demigod.
True.
Yeah. So anyway, I think most of the things given in these, you may find some hint in these Harivansh Puran or Garga Santa about all these things if you do a little more research. But generally, it says Akashvani means a unknown person. It's an unknown killer, like unknown killer nowadays is very popular. Unknown killer, somebody who is killing but nobody knows him. It's like that. There are somebody who just speak and nobody knows. This is something secret. Whole secret department's business. Yeah.
Also, when Narad Muni, he also heard a voice in the last part of his sadhana. He said that his devotional service is not perfect. He has to complete.
Oh,
So
Nard also heard that you are still not mature and there is something kalmash in you. So you will not see me in this life. You continue your practice and you will see me. So we can have so many such walks.
Yes.
This could be this could be his spiritual master. That the Prabhupada used to say, "Oh, this person told me this or this dream." I said, "My spiritual master was speaking through so and so person." So this is something like that. So scientifically, to prove that women are not trustworthy is a big scandal. It's going to be a big scandal. Let the woman do the research that we are not trustworthy. Hare Krishna. There are certain things anyway which are not easily to be digested in the scripture. So we have to simply accept it and see in our life what is really true. It may not be with all. Always there is an exception. So all are not like that. Like Prabhupada said, all right, we should not associate with woman, but it doesn't say devotee woman. He said devotees are not women. They are spirit soul. They are beyond body. So Prabhupada, there was a big discussion among the Prabhupada and sannyasis in Calcutta, and they were saying, no, Grasta, woman, this, that. And when Prabhupada came to temple, some Matajis were there with the garland. And when they gave garland to Prabhupada, they said, they are not women, they are devotees. So, it's not that all women are like that. But this is just class. So women, they are devotees actually. So Vasudev, by my dear brother-in-law Kansa, now Vasudev is speaking something. Vasudev said, my dear brother-in-law Kansa, you are the pride of your family, the Bhoj dynasty. Bhavan Bhoj Yashkara. Yashkara means pride. And a great heroes praise your qualities. Shalahaginya, Shalaghaniyaha Guna Shorahi. How could such a qualified person as you kill a woman, your own sister, Sa katham striyam bhagnim, bhagni means sister, hanyat, kill. Especially on the occasion of her marriage, udvaha pravani. So Prabhupada writes, according to Vedic principle, a Brahman, an old man, a woman, a child or a cow cannot be killed under any circumstances. Here there is another good thing about a woman, that she should not be killed. So nobody will say that you do research for that. Only negative side you research, not positive. Vasudeva stressed that Devaki was not only a woman, but a member of Kansa's family. Because she was now married to Vasudeva, she was par-istri. Par-istri means another man's wife. And if such a woman were killed, not only would Kansa be implicated in sinful activities, but his reputation as a king of Bhoj dynasty would be damaged. Thus Vasudeva tried in many ways to convince Kansa in order to stop him from killing Devaki. This many way. What are these many ways? They are the 4 ways politically. They are called Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. And there is a question in our question bank about that. And here is this. Vasudeva used the diplomatic principle of Sam. In this verse, he is using the diplomatic principle of Sam, which means pacification with kind words, invoking relationship, number 1, and glorification, number 2 of the qualities. So this is called Sam. Sam means pacification with kind words, invoking relationship and glorification of qualities. And there is a dhan, personal gain, what he will get, and helping others. And bhed, creating dissension. So these are the Sam, Dam, Bhed, and 4th is Dand. Ultimately, these when this does not work, then there is a punishment. Now in this verse, this is your question, so you get from here. In this verse, Shalaghinya Guna, one with praiseworthy qualities, glorifies Kansa's qualities. This is Sam. This is Sam. Bhoj Yash Karha, a brilliant star in the Bhoj dynasty, invoke family relationship, Sam. Bhaganim, sister, by mentioning this word to invoke fear and doubt, Vasudeva imply the dissension or bhed. So this the word Bhagani is bhed. And Hanyat Striyam, how can you kill, indicate gain, and help others, is dhan. Though Devaki bears your killer, you will gain fame by not killing her, since she is woman. Sparing her life, therefore, is helping others. So this is dhan. So these are the words used by Vasudeva. They are Sam and Dam and Bhed. Udvaha Pravani. After all, Devaki is a defenseless woman, your sister, and it will happen during her wedding. Presently you are a famous person, but killing her now will bring infamy in this life and hell in the next life. This is a bhed, dissension. Thus Vasudeva indicate 2 types of bhed, problems in this life and next life. This is bhed. The real intent of Vasudeva's words can be understood by taking opposite meaning. And what is the other meaning? Saraswati? Saying Kansa has praiseworthy qualities actually indicate that Kansa does not have those qualities. In a Bhoj dynasty, Kansa is famous for causing problem. By killing his sister, Kansa will destroy his dynasty. Now here is the verse 38. Philosophy. O great hero, Veer, Kansa, one who takes birth is sure to die. Mrityu janvatam dhurvam. For a death is born with the body. Dehen sahajayate. Everybody is born with death. One may die today or after 100 of years. Adyava abda shataneva. But death is sure for every living entity. Mrityu vai prani nam dhurvaha. So Srila Prabhupada's purport is whole Bhagavad Gita, that soul is eternal, body changes. So this is normal purport. You can relish this. Seeing no change in Kansa's heart, Vasudeva tries logic to advise. Now he is using logic. O king, our fear of death, you are about to commit murder. Now listen to me. Death is unavoidable. With this intention, Vasudeva speaks this verse. Janvatam, one who has taken birth. Factually, there is no birth or death for the soul. Only those who take birth by accepting a material body have death. Sa means it is well known. Ha indicate the fact is definite. When will death take place? Va, either or two, was used to indicate the inability to predict the time of death. Death could come any time between now and 100 years. Death is certain for all. Vasudeva present proof by saying this, which resemble the verse of Bhagavad Gita, Jayate hi dhruva mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Therefore, a brave man, a courageous warrior like you, should not be afraid of death. This is logic. Verse 39. When the present body turns to dust and is again reduced to 5 elements, ether, water, fire, air and ether, deha panchatvam apane. The proprietor of the body, the living being, dehi, automatically receive avasyaha anuprapya, another body of material elements according to his spiritual activities. Karamanu dehantaraha. When the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. Praktanam vapuhu tyajeta. Now, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, which is the beginning of the spiritual understanding. Dehi no asmin yatha dehi. So this is all Bhagavad Gita about the soul. One who commits sinful activities because of ignorance, tamogun, obtain a lower body, karanam gun sangos sadasya janamsu. So this is the whole Bhagavad Gita. I think you can relish this from Bhagavatam also. Our endeavor therefore should not be associated always with satogun, or not indulge in the rajogun or tamogun. Lusty desire and greed keep the living entity perpetually in ignorance and prevent him from being elevated to the platform of satogun or shuddha satogun. This is philosophically you can relish. Birth means accepting a body and death means giving up body. Both are inevitable. With this intention, Vasudeva speaks this verse. When body is about to die, one receives another body, and one gives up the old body. But one should not lament for the loss of enjoyment along with loss of body. Therefore, Vasudeva says, Karama anugaha avassaha. A new body is decided by one's action in this life. If you have karma to enjoy in the future, when certainly you will get the enjoyment. Therefore, you should give up killing a woman, which will produce suffering in the next life. So, this is a philosophical logic presented by Vasudeva. Verse number 40. Just as a person traveling on the road, tathaiva vrajam, rest one foot on the ground, tishtam pada ekam, and then lift the other, ekena gacchati. Or as a worm on a vegetable transfer itself from one leaf and then gives up the previous one, yatha tirana jalauka. The conditioned soul takes shelter of another body and then leaving up the one he had before. Evam dehi karam gatim gataha. So this is the process of soul's transmigration. So Srila Prabhupada is now explaining in this purport what is transmigration from one body to another body. At the same time, at the time of death, according to his mental condition, the living being is carried by the subtle body consisting of mind, intelligence and ego to another gross body. When the higher authorities have decided what kind of body the gross body the living entity will have, is forced to enter such body and thus be automatically given up his previous body. Dull-minded person who do not have the intelligence to understand this process of transmigration, I think this topic is very simple and it is easily understood by everybody. In this verse, Vasudeva gives example to show how one gives up the present body after attaining the new body in a subtle form via karma. A man put his foot forward on the ground firmly and then withdraw his back foot from the ground and put it forward. He does not put both feet forward at the same time. However, in this example, the feet are fixing themselves and withdrawing themselves from the same ground. Therefore, he gave the another example. As this may be unsatisfying to the mind, Vasudeva cited the example of caterpillar, who after taking support of one blade of grass in front of him, gives up the previous blade of grass. So grass is like a body and caterpillar is a soul. This is the analogy given here. Verse number 41, another experience. Having experienced a situation by seeing or hearing about it, drishta shrutabhyam, one contemplate this and speculate about that situation, manasa anuchintyan, and thus one surrender to it, tata prapadyate, not considering his present body, kim api na apasmrtihi. Similarly, by mental adjustment, one dreams at night of living under different circumstances, yatha swapane pashyanti manorathena abhinivishta chetana, in different bodies and forget his actual position, deyam idrisham. Under this same process, one gives up present body and accept another, implied tatha dehantar prapti. Again, Srila Prabhupada writes, migration of the soul is very clearly explained in this verse. And Prabhupada gives, one sometimes forget his present body and thinks of his childhood body or a body of a past and of how one's playing, jumping, talking. So we sit sometime and we talk of our childhood. It means we forget this body and we go and describe the childhood bodies. This is a Prabhupada writes about this whole thing. For dust, and then Prabhupada quotes something from Bible. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. So now here is something to add into the essay of Krishna conscious movement. This Krishna conscious movement, therefore, offer a process of transcendental activities wherein the mind is fully absorbed in affairs pertaining to Krishna. The presence of the soul is perceived by consciousness, and one must purify his consciousness from material to spiritual, or in other words, to Krishna consciousness. That which is spiritual is eternal, and that which is material is temporary. Without Krishna consciousness, one's consciousness is always absorbed in temporary things. For everyone, therefore, Krishna recommended in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhav mad bhakta. And also same thing in 1865. Same verse again. So, in the material world, one is always servant of great person, and in the spiritual world, our constant position is to serve Supreme, the greatest Param Brahm. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. So to act in Krishna consciousness is perfection of life. and is the highest perfection of yoga. Yogi namapi sarvesham. And then Srila Prabhupada writes, the function of mind is sankalp and vikalp. And therefore at the end of life, only yam yam vapi samam bhavam tejate ante kalevaram. One who think of Krishna can go to Krishna. Otherwise, whatever he thinks, he will go there. And therefore, one must train the mind in the system of bhakti yoga, as did Maharaj Ambrish, Savai Manap Krishna Padara Vandayo. Rishikena Sevan Bhakti Ruchyate. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam evcha vicharane bhakti yogena sevate. So the whole thing is Bhagavad Gita here, and the idea is, purpose of Krishna consciousness is to teach people about Bhagavad Gita as it is, that they can understand the science of soul. Because the mind is ultimately controlled by Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the word apasamrti is significant. Forgetfulness of one's own identity is called apasamrti. This apasamrti can be controlled by Supreme Lord. And now Prabhupada quotes, Mata samrtir gyanam apohanam cha. Mind is ultimately controlled by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. How can somebody explain this? How the mind is ultimately controlled by Krishna? Anybody? Hare Krishna, how?
Bhagavad Gita Krishna says,
Huh?
in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, among the indriyas I am the mind.
Sure, manascha, indriyanam manaschasmi. And actually, whose mind Krishna control? One who offer his mind to Krishna, mayev man adhasva may buddhim niveshaya. Actually, Arjun is one who has given the mind, which is represented by reins, in the hands of Krishna. Krishna is controlling the mind of Arjuna, means rein of the horses of the Arjun. So typical example is body is a chariot and the senses are the horses, and reins is mind. And mind is in the hand of Krishna. So what Krishna asked in Bhagavad Gita, Mai arpit mano buddhir, and Arjuna has given his mind, and he has made Krishna to sit in the intelligence. This is typically how Krishna controls the mind. And there is also, mind is Krishna's opulence, so it can only be controlled by Krishna. Nobody else can control that mind. This is a common sense. Anything which belongs to will go back there and then only take rest. Nowhere else it can take rest. Like you throw the stone anywhere, it will come to the earth because it belongs to earth. You throw water anywhere, it goes to the ocean because it belongs to the ocean. You lit the fire, the flame goes up because it belongs to sun. So mind belongs to Krishna. Only it can get satisfied when it is engaged in Krishna's service. Anywhere else, my mind will never take rest. So we are going to the next verse. Chakravarti Pad writes in this case, Vasudev now show an example from everyday life. In a dream, one sees a body similar to one seen in the waking state. Idrisham. Similarly, a person whose consciousness is deeply absorbed in someone through seeing a king, for example, or through hearing about Indra, for example, will see oneself as a king or Indra in dream and attempt to enjoy like the king or Indra as he forget his original body. So the whole idea is a philosophical explanation of change of body. In a living, when we are living, we change body many times. One time we speak about our childhood body, or sometime in a dream we get another body and enjoy like a king. This is what is explained here. According to Sridhar Swami, an example is given to understand by personal experience. Because when we hear something, we see something, that come in our dream. And then we will take another body and enjoy that seen thing. 42. At the time of death, whatever objects, at the time of death, according to the thinking, feeling and willing of the mind, which is involved in fruitive activities, one receive particular body. In other words, the body develop according to the activities of mind. Change of the body will are due to the flickering of mind. For otherwise, the soul could remain in its original spiritual body. Prabhupada writes, soul could remain in its original spiritual body. How can you explain this? Soul has his own spiritual body. How can you explain this? Yes?
Will you try with saying, talking about the original Swarup that Jivatma has?
Soul in its original spiritual body.
It's all covering, Prabhu. The soul can't be contaminated. The contamination is of the consciousness. The contamination is done by the three modes of material nature.
Right?
Pusha. This Pusha is the
Yeah, that soul is in its original spiritual body. So we have three bodies. We have three bodies. Number one is spiritual body, which is original soul's body. Then on the top of that, we have subtle body, which is made up of mind, intelligence, false ego, and polluted consciousness. And then we have third body, the grass body.
How does it look like spiritual body?
Huh? How?
How does it looks like?
Oh, how does it looks like a spiritual body? Ah, that is good. Prabhupada, a crude example Prabhupada used to give, you have gloves in the hands according to the shape of the hands. You have cloth according to your shape. So, the outer body is according to the original body of the soul. The Prabhupada used to give this crude example many times. But actually, in this verse, it is very clear that what are the thoughts in the mind that give rise to the grass body. But actually, nobody knows what is the original Swarup. And it is very openly declared by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that the Swarup of the soul is eternal servant of Krishna. In what form? Which depends upon our bhav, which we have not yet uncovered. Dasya bhav, sakha bhav, vatsalya bhav, madhurya bhav. That bhav is there but is uncovered. Therefore, the process which we have in nectar of devotion, Shravan dasha, then Varan dasha, then Sumran dasha, and Sumran dasha has 5 different stages, and then there is a Prapti dasha, and then there is a Swarup, our Swarup. So this is a process. Where we are in the process, we don't know. Advait Krishna, your hand is up.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. You see, the illusion is that we tend to think that it's a geographical separation between the consciousness, the conditioned soul, but it isn't a geographical thing. And, so, we have our original consciousness and it is reflected in this body, just like it is explained in the third canto. and the original consciousness is reflected, and therefore, pratibimba, that's what it is explained, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explains. So if we get liberated, it doesn't take like a long travel to get there, because it is just a question of consciousness. Everything is Krishna's, material world and spiritual world. So sometimes we tend to think, oh, well, I left my body there geographically, and I am here, but it isn't a geographical separation. It is a consciousness separation.
Prabhupada was sitting in America and he said, you think I'm in America? I'm not in America, I'm in Vrindavan. And then he said, Vrindavan is consciousness, it's not body. Vrindavan is consciousness, that how you want to please Krishna all the times, then you are in Vrindavan. Wherever your body is, you are in Vrindavan. So this realization that I am eternal servant of Krishna is the swarup of the soul. This consciousness is actually the original consciousness. Prabhupada has written this soul has a body in many places, but that body only when we get, then we can know. Okay, the word is there, but it's a very heavy word. Whatever object among the 5 elements, yato panchashu guneshu maya rachiteshu, the mind, mana, always subject to so many impressions, vikaratmakam, become attracted to, dhavati daiva chauditaham. Those objects it attains, apaha, because of its close association with mind. The soul, asau dehi, also enjoy those objects, prapadya manaha jayate, along with absorbed mind. So, the purport Srila Prabhupada writes, one can very easily understand that mind is constantly flickering, changing in quality of its thinking, feeling and willing. This is explained by Arjuna, Chanchalami Mana Krishna. This is the verse very common, everybody knows. Therefore, Arjuna admitted that controlling mind is not at all possible. This would be as difficult as controlling the wind. For example, if one were in the boat moving according to the wind on the river or a sea, the wind were uncontrollable, and tilting the boat would be very much disturbed and extremely difficult to control. It might even capsize. Therefore, in Bhava Samudra, Bhava Samudra means material ocean, the ocean of mental speculation, the transmigration to different type of bodies, one must first control the mind. Now the whole thing is there is a transmigration. 2 verses were speaking about transmigration. Vasudeva is saying. Now in this verse he is giving the solution how to stop transmigration by controlling mind. By regular practice, one can control the mind, and this is the purpose of yoga system, abhyasa yoga yuktena. So, the other yogas have artificial means. If the mind is engaged in bhakti yoga, however, by the grace of Krishna, one can easily control it. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. Okay. By chanting Hare Krishna mantra constantly, one can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Why? This is for personal application, this line. By chanting Hare Krishna mantra constantly, you put one, instead of one, put I can fix, but I have not yet fixed. I can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Are you thinking of lotus feet of Krishna every day? This is my question. Devotee should always, when he closes eyes, whenever he wants, he can see the lotus feet of Krishna, his presiding deity. This should be his meditation every day. You see the right foot of Krishna is crossing over the left foot, and the sole you can see the red color, and on the top you can see the tulsi leaf and chandan. Then you can see the ankle a flower, ankle or ankle bell, something. So, can you see? Are you can again? I'm saying, can I see the lotus feet of Krishna if I close eyes? What do you think?
Yes, you can.
Murari Goranga, is it possible? Can we see the lotus feet of Krishna, at least of our deities, every day? This should be our meditation. You are muted. You are muted. Murari Goranga, you are muted.
Sir, yes, Prabhuji, in Bhagavatam itself clearly says, in the first canto, third chapter, last verse, it clearly says you can see Krishna in every page as if your mood and mission is right. The same, if you continue the same mission, we can see the Lord, if your consciousness is clear.
So, are we every day, for some time, when in the temple, focus on the lotus feet with a present mind, not just formality, but focus, and then we close eyes, come out and think of the same lotus feet? Are we able to have those lotus feet we can see in our heart? This is the practice which we should do. Every devotee should practice at least the our deities' lotus feet. And one day, when the meditation becomes so strong, then real lotus feet, which is not, this is also real, but we are not ready to, reciprocate with real feet. One day, the light from some toenail of Krishna will shine so brightly that all darkness in the heart will disappear. And then the life's perfection starts. So we should start meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna and hoping one day the light from his, a fraction of light from one of his toenails, which is like a moon, is soothing and will reawaken our love of God. This should be our practice. And we should do every day this practice. Are we doing this? My question is, are we doing this? We can do, but are we doing? Those who are not doing, they should start practicing this. This is very important. So by chanting Hare Krishna mantra constantly, I can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. You write in the word one, you write I, and then you practice this. And in this way, achieve the perfection of yoga. Otherwise, the flickering mind will hover on the platform of mental speculation for sense gratification, and one will have no to transmit from one to other body. So the whole chapter purport is how to stop transmigration, and the process is to control mind. And to control mind is not by any mechanical yoga, but only by bhakti yoga. And in bhakti yoga, the process is chanting Hare Krishna, and then we can focus our mind and fix our mind on the lotus feet of Krishna, which is a boat. The lotus feet of Krishna is a boat. And this boat is not that we have to ride on this. This boat is simply you think of that and the material ocean become shrinking, and it is so small as were in the hoof print of a calf. And anybody can cross. That is the actually how to stop transmigration. So what is the benefit of focusing and fixing our mind on lotus feet of Krishna? Because it's a boat. By that we can cross this material ocean of miseries. Can we really cross by a boat? No, this boat is only think of lotus feet, and the ocean shrinks down. That is the process. Now, Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udavahato Vimudham, Bhagvatam. Rascals being controlled by mental speculation, make huge arrangement by which to enjoy life temporarily, but they must give up the body at the time of death. When everything is taken away by Krishna's external mrityu sarvas charm, at that time whatever one has created in his this life is lost, and one must automatically accept a new body by the force of material nature. In this life one may have constructed very tall skyscraper, but in the next life, because of one's mentality, one may have to accept a body like that of a cat, a dog, a tree, or perhaps a demigod. Thus the body is offered by the law of nature. Karanam gunsango sadasad yoni janamsu. So, again, this is the whole Bhagavad Gita you know. In conclusion, again, add into your essay. In conclusion, the Krishna conscious movement offer the topmost welfare activity for human society. The senior section of the human society must therefore take this movement very seriously for the benefit of all humanity. To save oneself from the repetition of birth and death, one must purify his consciousness. Sarvopadi vinurmuktam, so consciousness is contaminated, and therefore we have so many designations. One has to be free from those designations. And then we can rishikena sevam, so we can engage our senses in service of the master of the senses. By following the principle of this movement, one becomes dissociated with material mental concoction and is established on the original platform of eternal relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a servant and master. This is summary in the purpose is the purpose of Krishna consciousness. This, in summary, is the purpose of Krishna conscious movement. Okay. A question now arises. Chakravarti Pad writes, mind can only enjoy because of the influence of the demigod over the mind. Chandrama. Who is the demigod? Chandrama. Aniruddha. The demigod enable one to become absorbed in the image of King or Indra. How is it possible for mind to get enjoyment meant by oneself by someone else? This verse answers the question. Changing mentality. Vikaratmakam. Whatever object produced from the five elements, that the impression mind is become attracted to those object it attain. Dehesu. Because of its close association with mind, the soul also enjoy those objects. Prapadyaya mana jayate, along with the absorbed mind. Okay. Oh, here's the example, something, I don't know what is that, let's see. It's true, one will get a body, but it's difficult to get the body of a king. By the impulse of karma, without endeavor, the ignorant jiva, though different from his body and senses, think in this way and is born with another body. By the great force of karma, instructed by the voice from the sky, you should understand that your death is by son of Devaki is inevitable in future life. Giving up this sinful act, which will cause great suffering in the future, since you have an accumulation of old karma, now and thereafter you should do pious acts to avoid death for some time. Like Markandeya, in order to attain fortune body. In the previous life, for instance, Sadgarbha, son of Marichi, were born as grandson of Hiranyakashipu, as related in Harivansh. These are the examples. Verse number 43. When the luminaries in the sky, such as moon, sun, star, are reflected in liquid like oil or water, they appear to be different shapes. Sometimes round, sometimes long, sometimes so on. Because of the movement of the wind, Similarly, when the living entity, the soul, is absorbed in materialistic thought, he accepts various manifestations as his own identity because of ignorance. In other words, one is bewildered by mental concoction because of agitation from the material mode of nature. This verse gives a very good example by which to understand the different position of the eternal spirit soul in the material world and how the soul takes on different bodies. Dhyantra prapti. The moon is a stationary and is one, but when it is reflected in water or oil, it appears to take different shapes because of the movements of the wind. Similarly, soul is eternal servant of Krishna, like moon. But when put into the material mode of nature, which is like oil or water, it takes different bodies, sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a dog, a tree, and so on. Why? By influence of Maya, which is like wind. The illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity thinks that he is this person, that person, American, Indian, cat, dog, etc. This is called Maya. So this analogy of the moon, water, and the different shapes, how it fit into the soul. Soul is like a moon and different waters. This now I'm just telling you, just think of a reflected Ashwath tree of 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And this reflection is on the water. The tree upside down can only be seen near the river. So water is on which it is reflected. But what is the word written on that water in the picture? Anybody remembers? You know what I'm saying?
Desire.
Yeah. The word written in the water is desire. So desire is that liquid on which the reflection of the whole material world depends. So whatever body which we get will depends upon our desire. So this is a Prabhupada's common a word which he used to say, everything depends upon desire. So in this material world, we have so many material desires, but in Krishna consciousness, we have only one desire, how to love and serve Krishna. So when this desire becomes strong, then all other desire diminishes automatically. So this is most important. So this analogy, how it fits. This realization is sometimes explained as a nirakar. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. But it's this formlessness, however, does not mean that soul has no form. The soul has form, but the external agitating form he has acquired because of material contamination is false. So it has a form. What form it has, we don't know. Similarly, God is also described as Nirakar, which means that God has no material form, but it's Satchidanand Vigraha. This is normal philosophy, you know this. When the living entity receives these different forms, he identifies with them and not with the his original form. As soon as the living entity returns to his original spiritual form and understanding that, he immediately surrendered to Supreme Lord. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanam mante gyānman mam prapanante. So this is again Bhagavad Gita, you know. Surrender unto the Supreme Form is the result of bhakti. This bhakti or understanding of one's own position is complete liberation. I think rest all is Bhagavad Gita, you know the whole simple philosophy. Krishna is never puffed up by material knowledge and therefore is called Achyuta. whereas living entities fall down and are agitated by material nature. This is the difference between the Supreme Lord and living entities. In this connection, it is to be understood and noted that Vasudeva, who was situated in transcendental position, which means Shuddha Sattva. Vasudeva is the Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha Sattvam Vasudeva Sabdate. Vasudeva means he is in Vishuddha Sattva. He advised Kansa not to commit further sinful activities. Kansa, a representative of demon, was always ready to kill Krishna or God, whereas Vasudeva represented a transcendently situated person to whom Krishna is born. Vasudeva is son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva wanted his brother-in-law Kansa to refrain from sinful act of killing his sister, since the result of being agitated by material nature would be that the Kansa would have to accept the body in which to suffer again and again. Elsewhere in Srimad Bhagvatam, Rishabdev also says, Nasadu manya yat atmano yamasmin api kaleshada asadeha. So the body always gives misery, whatever it may be. Tritapa, tantrana. An intelligent man, therefore, must free himself from influence of three modes of material nature and revive his original spiritual body, against his spiritual body, by engaging in service of Supreme Lord Krishna. As long as one is materially attached, one must accept process of birth and death. One is therefore advised that an intelligent person, instead of being entangled in so-called good, bad, fruitive activities, should engage in his life and advancing in Krishna consciousness, so that instead of accepting another material body, Tyakta Deham Punarjanma, he will return home back to Godhead. Now Vasudeva gives an example to show how the soul, due to association with the mind, attain the same destination. Jyoti, sunlight or moonlight, Vidoka, Udaka, refer to water or oil. Udak means oil, or ghee. The image of sun is reflected on the surface of the water. It changes shape as the wind blows at the surface and produces ripples, Guneshu. So ripples means Guneshu, means modes of material nature. In the bodies, Guneshu, created by the Lord's Maya, Swa Maya Rachiteshu, or by one's own ignorance, the living entity, following the mind which is filled with desire for enjoyment, Rag Anugat, become bewildered and take up the same desire for enjoyment. Vasudeva said, by killing Devaki, you will obstruct the soul's desire to enjoy. Even if you die, you will enjoy in the next life, next body, because you will attain an auspicious body. Since your good deeds must be a good result. But killing Devaki will bring you suffering in the future. Your death by future son of Devaki, which was announced in the sky, is unavoidable, as it is under the law of karma. Therefore, Kansa, you should accept that death. All you can do is have Markandeya Rishi perform some ceremonies or preventive measures. So you do some preventive measures to avoid death. But the Bhagavad Toshani also you should read. Verse number 44. I think we can do till 45 today, because I have to leave by 7 for catching flight. So I think, how many verses we are short again? 10. We should finish till 56 today. Therefore, since envious impious activities cause the body in which one suffer in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or the next. Instead of being inimically towards other living entities, one should act piously by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord, thus avoiding a fearful situation both in this life and the next. In this regard, the following moral instruction by a great politician, Chandakya Pandit, is very meaningful. Teja Durjana samsangam bhaj sadhu samagama kuru punya aho ratan smara nityam anityatam. One should give up the company of devils, demons and non-devotees, and should always associate with devotees and saintly persons. One should always act piously, thinking that this life is temporary and not to be attached to the temporary happiness and distress. Now again add to the list of Krishna conscious movement. The Krishna conscious movement is teaching all of human society this principle of becoming Krishna conscious and thus solving the problems of life forever. Tyaktva adhyam punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. A person covered by ignorance should not commit violence, envious, drog, envious. For one who commits violence to others, there is a fear of harm from Yamaraj and others. In this verse, Vasudeva uses diplomatic principle of Bhed to install fear in Kansa. So this verse number 44 is a Bhed. And 45? Eshatvanuja bala kripana putriko pama hantum narasi kalyanim imam tvamadina vatsala. As your younger sister, this poor girl Devaki is like your own daughter and deserves to be affectionately maintained. You are merciful and therefore you should not kill her. Indeed, she deserves your affection. Following the saying, by praise a ferocious become tamed. Vasudeva again began praising Krishna. Putrika Upma, daughter. Devaki deserves your mercy because she is just like your daughter. The sentence can also mean Devaki is petrified like a doll out of fear. Deen Vatsala, you should not kill her because you are compassionate to the suffering. The real meaning of Deen Vatsala, however, is one who accepts even a calf from a most poor person as it takes. So this is actually condemnation of Kansa. Now, for the most cruel, one should use the type of psalm known as praise. So this verse is praise. This newly married woman is miserable, crying in fear. She is low by her nature. She is like your daughter, worthy of your affection. Or she is like a doll, unconscious, not knowing good from bad. She is innocent, without fault, Kalyanim. The different words used to describe Devaki progress to the most important, Kalyanim. Dina Vatsala, affectionate to the miserable, has a hidden meaning. What is that? You are the type of person who gives law, an almost dead calf, Dina Vatsala, to Brahmana, who take a calf from a destitute person. He should not kill her. Of course, people like you should do this, but it is to be condemned. Now, the next section, 46 to 55, Vasudeva promised to hand over his child to Kansa. So now the Vasudeva Sai is not going to be pacified by Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. So these political methods are not working on this cruel, envious Kansa. So he decided to promise Kansa that he will give all issues of Devaki except the one from which Kansa is fearful. Sukdev Goswami continued, O best of the Kuru dynasty, Kansa was falsely cruel and was actually follower of Rakshasas. Therefore, he could be neither pacified nor terrified by the good instruction given by Vasudeva. He did not care about the result of sinful activities, either in this life or the next. Though Kansa was instructed by Vasudeva with pacifying and fierce instilling, pacifying means Sam, fear instilling means Bhed. Because he kept company with Rakshasas, Purusha Adhan, man-eaters, he did not give up his intent to kill. 47. When Vasudeva saw Kansa was determined to kill his sister Devaki, he thought to himself very deeply. Considering the imminent danger of death, he thought of another plan to stop Kansa. So what is the other plan? He said, somehow I should... Prabhupada is describing in 2 lines. Vasudeva is not an ordinary person. Vasudeva saw imminent danger, and his wife Devaki would be killed. He was convinced of his welfare because at his birth, the demigod had played drums and kettle drums. He therefore attempted another way to save Devaki. So it means he was transcendental personality, even praised by demigods. So he used the other way. At my birth, demigod sounded drums. Therefore, nothing unfortunate can happen to me. With this certainty, Vasudeva, whose second name is Ananka Dumdubi, thought of a way to avoid the imminent danger of Devaki. Jiva Goswami is writing, Kansa was considering in his mind the method of killing her, and Vasudeva was trying to find out the method to save Devaki. "48. As long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is for general principle. This is the duty of every embodied person. But if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavor, a person facing death commit no offense. Then there is no offense. You try to save as much as possible by anything, any argument. It is natural for a person facing ultimate death to try his best to save himself. This is one's duty. Although death is sure, everyone should try to avoid it and not meet death without opposition, because every living soul is by nature eternal. So therefore it is said, if there is a fire, stop it quickly, extinguish it quickly. If there is a disease, treat it quickly. If there is debt, repay it quickly, because otherwise they will go beyond control. So this is the special saying. Because death is punishment imposed in the condemned life of material existence, the Vedic culture is based on avoiding death, tekta deham punarjanma. One who is not trying to stop death is not an intelligent human being. Because Devaki was face to face with imminent death, it was Vasudeva's duty to save her, as he was trying his best to do. So what is the other way? I cannot use strength to avoid Devaki's death at Kansa's hands, but I can use my intelligence. This is the Vasudeva's thought. 49 and 50. Vasudeva considered, by delivering all my sons to Kansa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kansa will die before my son take birth. Or since he is already destined to die at the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons to that Kansa will give up this immediate threat. And if in due course of time Kansa dies, I shall have nothing to fear. So this is thought. There's a one word in this verse. Kripanam Inotion Imam Devaki Sutaha Yadi Mrityum.
It's interesting that Shukadeva Goswami is recollecting conversations that have happened, plus he's even bringing up things that what Vasudeva is thinking in his mind. Also, he's bringing up. So it means Shukadeva Goswami can see past, but past in the mind also.
Yeah, this is actually the duty of the spiritual masters to see the mind of a disciple and decide his varnan and engage him accordingly. And the commentators, when they are commenting in a spiritual, atmosphere, they see the person is speaking, the words coming from his mouth, what is the thought in his mind. And they write based on that thought. That's called bhav. What is the bhav? So those who are at the level of bhav, they can write bhavarth because they can see the things there. So Vasudeva, what he was thinking, this is even by the mercy of the Vyasadeva, Sanjay can see who is thinking what. So this is also a science. So Vasudeva wanted to save the life of Devaki by promising to deliver his sons to Kansa. So Vasudeva's sons. And he thought, as we saw, there's nothing. But only in this verse, there's a one Sanskrit word which His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj used to say that the verse in Sanskrit says, I will give all the children from whom you have no fear. But the one from one you have fear, I will not give. That is implied from a Sanskrit. So, but
Prabhuji, it is in text 54.
So 54 already gone?
No.
Or will come?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we have to note that verse. But when Vasudeva think that is not proper, with this anxiety, he continued to think, if I don't have any son, there is no need to worry. If I have sons and Kansa has not died by then it is certainly improper. But I must save Devaki now. So this is the thought in the Vasudeva's mind. He considers that the message from the sky was some sort of deceit. He considers that it may be true. This is Jiva Goswami writing. Verse 51, the last verse for me today. When a fire from some unseen reason leaps over one piece of wood and set fire to the next, the reason is destiny. Similarly, when a living being accepts one kind of body and leave aside another, there is no other reason than unseen destiny. This is Vasudeva's thinking. When there is a fire in the village, the fire sometimes jumps from one house to the another. Similarly, when there is a forest fire, the fire sometimes jumps from one tree to other. Why this happens, no one can say. Prabhupada said, no one can say. One may set forth some imaginary reason by the nearest tree. A house did not catch fire, whereas a tree or a house in distant place did. But actually the reason is destiny. This reason also applies to transmigration of soul, by which a prime minister in one life may become a dog in next. The work of unseen destiny cannot be ascertained by practical experimental knowledge, and therefore one must be satisfied by reasoning that everything is done by the supreme providence. Vasudeva deliberated further. What I have decided to do is not improbable. For no living entity can escape its fate, even cancer. To illustrate this, Vasudev gives an example. When there is a forest fire, what causes the fire to burn one tree and not the other? There is one other cause than fate, and just the cause of the tree's suffering is fate, so the cause of persons accepting and losing his body is fate alone. We cannot determine it with our intelligence. So we'll continue from here. How many verses short we are now? Hare Krishna?
7.
Huh?
7.
So from 10 to 7 we came, okay? Tomorrow I don't know, I will be somewhere in Assam and we will communicate. Thank you everybody. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you again tomorrow. Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. दो घंटे तो देर हो ही गए.